The sun hung high over the city, casting warm light over the bustling sidewalk. Street vendors called out their prices. Kids laughed as they chased each other, and cars rumbled by in a steady stream. Among the crowd walked Alicia, a young black woman in her late 20s, her hands gently resting on her round belly. 7 months pregnant, she moved carefully, her steps slow but steady. She had just left a small baby store, a paper bag swinging lightly in her hand, filled with soft blankets and tiny clothes. She couldn't wait to show her husband. She was halfway across the block when the sharp squeal of tires shattered the peaceful rhythm of the afternoon. A police cruiser jerked to a stop right at the curb, blocking her path. The driver's door flew open, and a tall officer stepped out, his boots hitting the pavement with force. His voice was loud, harsh, and dripping with authority. "Hey, you stop right there." Alicia froze, startled. She turned toward him, confused. "Is there a problem, officer?" she asked, her voice polite but cautious. "You match a description," he barked. "Let's see your bag, and your ID." Her brow furrowed. "A description? I just came from the store, don't talk back," he snapped, stepping closer until his shadow covered her. People on the sidewalk slowed, their curiosity pulling them closer to the unfolding scene. Alicia glanced around nervously. The tension in the air was thick, and her heartbeat quickened. She tried to remain calm, aware that stress was dangerous for her baby. "I'm not doing anything wrong," she said softly. But the officer's eyes were sharp with suspicion, and his hand twitched near his belt. The afternoon crowd could sense that something was about to happen. The officer's voice grew louder, drawing more attention from the surrounding crowd. Alicia could feel dozens of eyes on her, but instead of comfort, it made her feel exposed and vulnerable. She took a small step back, her free hand instinctively cradling her belly. That simple motion seemed to set him off. "What? You think you can just walk away from me?" he barked, his tone dripping with contempt. His boots scraped against the pavement as he closed the gap between them. "Stop resisting, or I'll make you stop." "I'm not resisting," Alicia replied, her voice trembling. "Please, I'm pregnant. I'm just trying to get home." Her words were cut short when, without warning, his leg shot forward. The heavy sole of his boot connected with her stomach. The sound wasn't loud, but the effect was instant. A sharp cry tore from her lips as she stumbled backward, her paper bag spilling onto the ground. Tiny baby clothes scattered across the concrete, a heartbreaking contrast to the violence. Gasps rippled through the onlookers. A woman screamed, "She's pregnant," while a man shouted, "What's wrong with you?" Several people pulled out their phones, recording the scene. Alicia crumpled to her knees, clutching her belly in panic. Pain radiated through her, but fear for her baby consumed her more than anything. Tears streamed down her face as she struggled to catch her breath. The officer stood over her, his expression a twisted mix of authority and satisfaction. "Maybe now you'll learn to do what you're told," he muttered, ignoring the angry shouts from the crowd. But among the sea of horrified faces, someone was already dialing a number 1. That would change everything for the officer. In the next few minutes, the crowd's anger grew louder, voices overlapping in outrage. Some people knelt beside Alicia, trying to comfort her, while others recorded every second. The officer barked at them to back up, his hand hovering near his taser. But then, the deep rumble of a black SUV cut through the noise. It slowed to a stop right behind the police cruiser. The driver's door opened, and out stepped a tall man in a crisp uniform, his presence commanding immediate respect. It was Chief Daniel Carter, the highest-ranking officer in the city and the last person the rookie cop expected to see. His eyes swept over the scene, instantly locking on Alicia, curled on the ground. The chief's face transformed from professional calm to raw fury. He pushed through the onlookers, ignoring the rookie entirely, and knelt beside her. "Alicia, are you hurt? Is the baby okay?" His voice cracked with emotion. The rookie's heart dropped. "Sir, you know her," he stammered, suddenly unsure of everything. The chief slowly rose, his broad frame towering over the younger officer. "No, her," he said coldly. "She's my wife." The words rippled through the crowd like a shockwave. Gasps and murmurs spread instantly. The rookie's hands began to shake, his earlier arrogance dissolving into panic. "I didn't know, you didn't care." The chief cut him off, his voice like steel. "You saw her skin, not her humanity. And now you'll answer for it." 2 uniformed officers from the SUV stepped forward without hesitation, grabbing the rookie's arms and snapping handcuffs around his wrists. The crowd erupted into cheers, some shouting "Justice," as cameras captured every moment. For the rookie, the realization hit hard. He hadn't just assaulted an innocent woman. He had attacked the one person he could never afford to harm. The rookie's face drained of all color as the cold metal of the handcuffs bit into his wrists. The crowd's murmurs turned into a roar of approval, some cheering, others hurling words of disgust at him. Cell phones were lifted high, capturing every second from multiple angles. His earlier smug confidence was gone, replaced with the stunned, panicked look of a man watching his career crumble before his eyes. Chief Carter didn't spare him another glance. He stayed with Alicia, helping her to her feet with a tenderness that contrasted sharply with the violence she had just endured. An ambulance pulled up, its siren wailing briefly before shutting off. Paramedics rushed over, guiding her gently toward the open doors. "We'll check on the baby right away," one reassured her. While the chief climbed in beside her, before leaving, the chief turned to the two officers holding the rookie. His voice was firm, each word carrying the weight of authority and rage. "Book him for assault, abuse of power, and endangering the life of a pregnant woman." The rookie's eyes darted around the street, searching for sympathy, but found none. Every face was a wall of condemnation. News vans screeched to a stop. At the end of the block, reporters already sprinting toward the scene. Microphones were shoved forward, questions flying. "Is it true that's your wife? Will the officer be fired? Was this racially motivated?" But the chief ignored them. As the rookie was led toward the police cruiser, the cameras caught the unmistakable image of a disgraced officer being placed in the very back seat where criminals sat. He hung his head, knowing this footage would be on every screen in the city within the hour. And in that moment, he understood this wasn't just the end of his job. It was the end of the life he thought he could live without consequences. Days later, the city was still buzzing about the incident. The video of the assault had gone viral, played on every news station, and shared endlessly online. Public outrage was overwhelming, with protests calling for justice and reforms in the police department. The rookie, now stripped of his badge and uniform, sat alone in a holding cell, awaiting trial. The cold, gray walls closed in on him, and the silence was heavier than any noise he'd ever known. He had replayed that afternoon in his mind 100 times, trying to convince himself it wasn't as bad as it looked. But deep down, he knew the truth. It was worse. He hadn't just made a mistake. He had revealed who he truly was when no one was watching. And now, everyone was watching. The cell door clanged open. Chief Carter stepped inside, his towering presence filling the room. He didn't sit or offer small talk. Instead, his voice was low and deliberate. "You didn't know she was my wife. But that's the point. You shouldn't need to know someone's worth to treat them with respect. You judged her in seconds because of her skin, and you could have killed my child." The rookie stared at the floor, shame burning through him. There was nothing to say. The chief turned to leave but paused at the door. The uniform was supposed to protect people, not give you power to harm them. You lost it because you forgot that. When he left, the rookie sat in the heavy silence once more. Outside the jail walls, Alicia rested at home, safe with her husband by her side, their baby still healthy. And across the city, people carried the memory of that day, a reminder that respect is not optional, and justice comes for those who abuse their power. If this story moved you, hit like, drop a comment, and share it with others. Don't forget to subscribe to The Silent Side USA for more powerful real-life stories.